Jonathan Shrager here for Shrager News TV. Just found James on the plane, and we're just going to have a little chat about the game. But I was just thinking, what's your thoughts then after tonight, James?
The outcome was what I expected prior to entering this plane at 7 o'clock this morning. I thought they fought, certainly for most of the game. They showed some passion. Some players had better nights than others. I thought Chris Smalling in the first half was excellent. I thought Welbeck, Kagawa excellent throughout. Some poor performances surprisingly tonight. Carrick had his first worst 30 minutes in a red shirt in years. Fletcher looked off the pace, not enough, I would say, direction in his passing. Not good enough overall, but it's what I expected. So you can't get despondent. I think it's on a bigger scale, on a larger perspective that I look and I analyse and I assess maybe in a few days' time. My thoughts on the current situation don't change. A win, lose or draw tonight wouldn't have changed my personal opinion on the current situation. I've been quite vocal to people that know me where I stand, and I'll stand by that. Even if they got through tonight, and they could have got through, Bayern weren't at the best tonight. I think that for 37 seconds I felt like I was back in Turin in '99. So listen, we can be proud of the boys tonight rather than be angry at anything but that. And that's what all United fans can ask for, who pay the money or watch it on TV. We're entitled to be proud and expect something back from the players. Overall, as a club, as a collective unit, they gave us that. But I think there's bigger, more poignant issues to sort out that need to be addressed rather quickly. And I think there's certain people as a supporter that either will keep quiet because they're too scared, or it's a taboo to disrespect the current situation, i.e. Moyes as the manager or not the manager. I stand in the camp, but it's not that I dislike David Moyes, I just don't think he's right for Manchester United. I use the phrase he's not big enough for the club. Out of his depth's a bit too harsh, maybe. It's a bit too personal. I think there's many people that will be out of the depth, so it's not a criticism of David Moyes compared to other managers. But there aren't many that could come in and have the presence and stature, but there are some out there that suit our club and what we're about and what we've achieved through a certain manager, coupled with times in football that have changed. And I think it needs to be addressed.
I mean, we sort of were having a chat before, and obviously this is an opinion that you've formulated over the course of the season. Obviously it's not an opinion that you've just formed in the last week or on the back of tonight. I mean, what specifically is it that when you look at David Moyes, you look at his management style, what is it specifically that you feel he's lacking in terms of being a Manchester United pedigree manager?
I don't think he can set out a team. I mean, that's pretty hard. That's right to the core. I think he struggles with tactics sometimes, with the players available, which albeit aren't his fault. With the previous regime has left him in a certain pickle. But at certain occasions against certain teams, obviously highlighted more recently with Liverpool and City at Old Trafford, two strong midfields, it was inadequate, where you wouldn't expect United at Old Trafford to be able to perform like that. That's down to the manager, how he sets out his players. I think he's gone, I've used this phrase and I'll use it again, he's gone from Panda Cola to Coca-Cola, and I think that whether people agree, to go from Everton to Manchester United, that's the analogy. And I think he never won anything. So you've gone from a manager that's won 35 trophies to a manager that's won no trophies. It just seems one extreme to the other, and that's scary in my opinion. To do that, it's a massive.
So let's picture a scenario whereby Moyes does leave tomorrow. Ideally, if you could name one or two managers in world football, who is it that you think that is?
They've got to be able to come into the ground, into the seat, and not fill in all of the seat or the ground. Mourinho would have been that type of manager. whether he's right for United. That people can yes or no. As a successful manager, he would have been right. Handling the pressure of Manchester United, he would have been right. Today, who's available? They talk about Van Gaal. He's got the previous history of managing big clubs. Whether he's got the personality, I'm not so sure about. Klopp has built a dynasty at Dortmund, potentially coming to his end of his tenure on his own back. He could be right. But yeah, there aren't too many. Ancelotti, if he leaves Madrid, has got that previous, but is he getting on a bit? So I'd have to probably sit down and think of 2 or 3. But those two certainly. Van Gaal has handled big clubs before. Wouldn't feel the aura of United. There'd be too much pressure. But Klopp potentially could be a very good timing, but could be a better David Moyes in Europe and has set out teams and won things.
Well, obviously I know from chatting to you that you've obviously been following United from the early 80s, and what I find interesting about yourself is obviously from speaking to certain older heads. I mean, my first game at Old Trafford was the late 80s, so I sort of have not very vivid memories of when we weren't very good. And when I start to remember football properly, that's when the Fergie success really started. But when I chat to older heads like yourself, and you've got
the old kids.
That's the old ones.
39.
Well, you've got that perspective where you've watched United and you've seen them struggle, and you've seen them underachieve perennially. I find it interesting that yourself, because a lot of Reds that are older toe the party line and they'll say, oh, we pride ourselves on being a club that gives managers time, but you also
football's changed. Football's changed. It's not 1986 when the brand wasn't the important factor. It's not 1989 with Michael Knight running on the pitch juggling a ball. It's not that era anymore. It was good when he won against Arsenal. We won 4-1. But it's not. It's changed. People don't want Liverpool to win the league. I certainly do. But if they do, they're one of the only 2 teams in Britain where the well, I don't agree with that. But where the brand can grow. And it scares me that. Well, it doesn't scare me, but it's certainly you have to stay on top of that. And you can't afford to be like 1986, 85, 1984.
So do you sort of fear then potentially then if Liverpool do win the title, that they could use that momentum, to go on and build a bit of a dynasty?
Without a doubt, they've got a good manager.
And you think for United, you fear the worst in the sense that if we do stick with a manager that's subpar, that we could fall well behind. Is that your concern?
I'll go on record and say this manager's not right for Manchester United, in my opinion. That's how I'll leave it today, Johnny. As we get tired at the end of this flight.
Fair enough. Well, I'm glad that we're all proud of the lads tonight.
That we can definitely say.
Definitely. I'm going to get you on one of the forthcoming Stretty Sundays on the blog.
Up the Reds.
Thanks a lot, James.
Up the Reds.
Thanks a lot, James.